the best breakdancer. The same thing with graffiti.
As for perfecting their skills, remember, there was no internet. They learned from watching other so-called writers and spending what seemed like forever on subway platforms.
The train pulls in a station, you absorb as much as you could, and then it rolls out. So you're like, sometimes you wait a couple of hours for that same train to come around so you can see it again.
That attention to detail would be one of their strong points others wanted in, went from a trio to up to a dozen members. At the same time, a shy kid, Richard Colon, was finding his way b-boying. You have to have thick skin. Critics were harsh.
If your skills were trash, those words were used. Yo, that's trash, or that looks hurt. And you'd be like, all right, cool.
He earned his stripes and the nickname Crazy Legs, an original member of the Rocksteady crew.
So we had this newfound success and fame, which we couldn't see beyond like ghetto props. We didn't know how big those things were hitting the United States and the globe.
Cologne was one of the first to take breakdancing to Paris and London. Tat's crew was also on the rise. Landlords were paying them to paint murals on their buildings, noting how other artists respected their work and wouldn't tag it. Different, yet the same. In the end, the colliding of many worlds.
The birth of hip-hop kind of came from not having social places to go to. And from that, we created our own form of dance, our own form of music, our own form of art.
And all of this overlapping in so many places. Graffiti artists like the Tats crew would make a background, and then someone like Crazy Legs would start dancing, and ultimately someone would grab the mic. The international reach of all of this tracing right back here to the Bronx. For now, we're live at Yankee Stadium. Kimberly Richardson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Bronx starting it all.
Oh, no kidding, and spreading fast. We are just getting started on this Eyewitness News special presentation.
When you find your niche, some people find it in art, as far as drawing, some people find it in sports. I was lucky enough to find it in music.
He is a rapper, record producer, actor, and someone who's been in the game for decades. We sit down one-on-one with Method Man as he looks back on his rise to fame and how hip-hop has changed over the last 5 decades. Plus,
from Adidas and Kangol to designer labels and collaborations, we'll look at the evolution of hip-hop fashion.
And before we go to break, 4 of the greatest rappers of all time walk the halls of this Brooklyn high school. Can you guess who? We'll have the answer when we come right back.
And welcome back to this Eyewitness News special presentation celebrating 50 years of hip-hop. And you're looking at the George Westinghouse Career and Technical Education High School in downtown Brooklyn. And that is where Jay-Z, Busta Rhymes, DMX, and the notorious B.I.G. all went to class. Wow. And as legend has it, Jay-Z and Busta Rhymes had a rap battle in the lunchroom. And Busta admitted that Jay-Z beat him. Well, those rappers called Brooklyn home, but each borough lay claim to some of hip-hop's biggest and most influential stars. In the Bronx, you had KRS-One, Big Pun, and Fat Joe.
Queens can boast legends like Run DMC, Nas, LL Cool J, Biz Markie, Dougie Fresh, and Mace all walk the streets of Harlem. And when you think of Staten Island, you must be talking about Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, yes, you are. Eyewitness News anchor Shirley Allicott sat down one-on-one with Wu-Tang's Method Man, and he discussed hip-hop's past, present, and future.
50 years.
Hip-hop, baby, yes.
50 years. What does that mean to you?
That means a lot. I mean, we're talking about kids invented this genre. Kids. I like to say that they crawled through glass, the garbage and things, just so we can walk.
Cash rules everything around me. It's the Method Man for short, Mr. Map. Move it on your left. The M-E-T-H-O-D, yeah.
So set the scene for me, a young Clifford Smith Jr.
Wow, that was my first rap name too. I didn't even have a rap name, it's just Cliff. You know? When you find your niche, some people find it in art, as far as drawing, some people find it in sports. I was lucky enough to find it in music. And the first rap record that I had memorized was Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight. And I remember having block parties in Staten Island, and everybody knew the lyrics to this song except me. So I caught it on tape one day, memorized every word, still one of the greatest hip hop tracks of all time.
To the hip hop, the hip to the hip and the hip hop, you don't stop rocking to the.
So, debut album, 36 Chambers.
Ooh. It's funny when you're in the midst of the beginning of your career and you get a little bit of recognition, you know. But as time started to go on and months started to go on and the record started to get traction, we started to see a difference in the crowds. The crowds got bigger. More people were paying attention. The money got better because we were getting $30 a piece. In the beginning, yes.
In the very beginning.
$30 a piece for each man, a show. Absolutely.
Everybody gets green!
What you have done is a masterclass.
Wow, thank you.
In how to navigate this career. How you've been able to parlay your rapper superstardom into acting.
Great second act. There was a moment where everything was drying up. So I'm like, well, what else can I do? Acting. I got booked on a movie called Keanu with Key and Peele. And once that happened, people started to take me more serious.
Cheddar's got Keanu. We in the market right now for like a gangster pet. You serious?
What message or legacy do you hope to leave behind?
I always said to myself, what can I leave behind that will let people know that Wu-Tang, you know, did their thing. We have a district in our old neighborhood, a street named after ourselves. So 30, 40 years from now, that district right there is proof that I existed. And that's what I'll leave behind right there.
That is so cool.
You know what I mean? Fire, fire.
That is fire. You did do it,
right?
Method Man. Well, Method Man and Wu-Tang quite literally leaving their mark on Staten Island and hip-hop history.
Really love that interview, but we're not done. Coming up next, the fashions that define hip-hop and hip culture for the past 5 decades.
And before we go to break, some local and national leaders talk about how being raised during hip-hop's golden era has helped shape their views today.
But his words...
I represent the neighborhoods that have given birth to some of the classic hip-hop artists of all time, including the notorious B.I.G.
I remember the cassette tapes. When I came home from school, I listened to Uncle Ralph or via Music Box, and I started to learn the lyrics of all the songs, from Kumo D to KRS-One to so many icons.
These young up-and-coming rappers are going to connect to social issues, talking about environment, education, public safety, and I'm hoping in one of those paragraphs they're going to look and say that hip-hop mayor made it different for people who talked about the devastation of being abandoned. He corrected some of those conditions.